Get real with it. Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. You think you're just treating one person sitting there on your couch, don't you? This is a common miss. You're not just talking to an individual, you're talking to a walking, talking representative of an entire system. Systems theory is just a fancy way of saying that everything is connected. Think of it like a spider web. You poke one part of that web and the whole thing shakes, right? That person in your office is part of a family web work, web friend, web community, web. But here's the twist. Each person is also a system within themselves. Inside every client, there's a whole network of thoughts, feelings, and roles all tangled up together. There's the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, sometimes working together, sometimes pulling in different directions. There's the inner child, the adult, the parent, the friend, the professional. All these parts interact, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in conflict. And don't forget the timeline. Your client's past, present, and future selves are all in the room, shaping how they see the world and respond to it. So when you're working with a client, you're not just dealing with their external webs, you're also helping them untangle the complex system inside. Change one part and the rest shifts, both within and around them. You can't understand the spider if you don't understand the web it lives in. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee, folks. So, why should you care about this? Because if you overlook the bigger picture, it becomes much harder to truly help your client. You might offer some comfort, but the deeper challenges may still remain. You might make a little progress, but the client will walk right back into the same messy situation that brought them to you in the first place. It's like trying to fix a leaky boat while it's still in the middle of a hurricane. Let's be honest, nobody lives on an island. You might think your client's problems are all in their head, but that's just not the truth. Every single person is tangled up in a web of relationships and environments that shape who they are and how they feel. Think about it. A client comes to you with crippling anxiety. You could spend months talking about their childhood, and that's important. But what if the real source of their anxiety is a toxic boss who belittles them every single day? Or a spouse who is constantly critical and unsupportive? You can't separate the person from their world. It's all one big package deal. The system includes everything. Family, the one they grew up in. Family, the one they've created. Friends. Workplace culture. Financial situation. Neighborhood. Does their community feel safe? Do they have a support network? Or are they all alone? Let's get specific. I want you to picture a client. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah comes to you because she's feeling depressed and has no motivation. On the surface, it looks like a classic case of depression, but let's put on our systems theory glasses. You start asking questions. You find out Sarah is a caregiver for her elderly mother who has dementia. She also works a full-time job where her contributions are constantly overlooked. Her husband travels for work most of the week. She's left to manage the household and their 2 teenage children all by herself. Are you starting to see the picture here? Sarah's depression isn't happening in a vacuum. It's a direct response to a system that is demanding everything from her and giving very little back. Her role as a caregiver is draining her emotionally and physically. Her job is draining her sense of self-worth. Her husband's absence is draining her of support and partnership. Each one of these things is a thread in the web. Pull on one, and they all tighten around her. You could give her an antidepressant, and it might help a little. But unless you address the crushing weight of her life system, that pill is just a temporary fix. Now let's talk about another client, Mark. Mark comes in with anger issues. He's getting into arguments at work. He's getting into arguments at home. So, you get it. Everything's connected. Now what? How do you actually use this in a one-on-one therapy session? You don't need to have the whole family in the room to do systems work. You can create massive change by working with the one person who showed up. The key is to remember that changing one part of the system will force the rest of the system to adapt. Remember that baby mobile? If you help your client move their little wooden animal, all the others have to find a new way to hang. That's where the magic happens. Your first step is to become a map maker. You need to help the client draw a map of their system. Who are the key players? What are the rules? What are the patterns? You can use tools like a genogram to map out the family history, or you can just talk it through. When you feel that anxiety, who is usually around? What happens at work right before you have a blow-up? How does your partner react when you try to talk about your feelings? You're looking for the cause and effect chains. A leverage point is a small, manageable change that can create a ripple effect through the entire system. Maybe it's hiring a home health aide for her mother for just 4 hours a week. That one small change could give her the breathing room she needs to start tackling the other issues.